Hi, I'm Jen with this week's Adult Services Book Talk. Tonight I have 2 cookbooks, 1 lifestyle book, and 1 fun beach read book. Okay, so the first title I wanted to show you is America's Test Kitchen's new cookbook. It's the complete summer cookbook, Beat the Heat with 500 recipes that make the most of summer's bounty. Now, I said this before, I love looking through cookbooks and reading about different methods, about the history of dishes, about different cuisines, and this book is jam-packed full of information. It has menus, it has nutritional information, it has methods of doing different types of cooking. It's just a really great book. I marked a few pages. I loved this part where it shows you the different ideas for menus. In case for whatever different parties you're having during the summer. Another page that I really thought was helpful was these quick vinaigrettes and salad dressing recipes. Sometimes you just want to mix up something that's not a bottled dressing, and they seem like really quick, easy recipes to use. The other thing I really liked about this book was, of course, there's a lot of salads, a lot of grilling, a lot of, not using the oven types of cooking. There's an entire chapter on pressure cooking. So you're not turning on the stove, you're using a pressure cooker. Another thing I really like is all the grilling recipes, grilled butterfly chicken and grilled butterfly lemon chicken. And in this recipe they give you a little sidebar of how to actually do the method of butterflying a chicken, which is super helpful because I don't know how to do that, but I think I could tackle it by looking at those photos. They just have really interesting things like grilling artichokes, and then a little method about how to trim the artichoke, and then how to pick an artichoke if you're at the farmer's market and you see that they're being sold, like what's the best way to pick an artichoke. Another great thing that I loved was just these basic recipes on iced tea, basic recipes for making lemonade, different drinks. This looked really great, watermelon lime agua fresca. We always have a watermelon going in our house cut up, and this is a great way to use it up. And then there's different, cocktail recipes that you could use while sitting out on your porch or your deck on a summer evening. This was super interesting to me because I was interested in tackling canning and making strawberry jam. So this was a lot of information, step by step. I actually didn't tackle it, but I do really want to by using this method. We had picked strawberries a couple weekends ago, and I really wanted to try this out, but I think I'll try it with maybe the next thing that we go to pick, maybe blackberries or blueberries, and see if I could try my hand at canning and preserving. My daughter and I were going to try the strawberry shortcake recipe, but we ran out of time. But it looked really simple, and the picture made it look absolutely delicious. And then there's another section in the desserts, all on no-bake desserts and icebox pies. Caramel turtle icebox pie. And then finally, of course, an ice cream sundae bar menu page with little recipes on how to make different toppings. So I loved this America's Test Kitchen complete summer cookbook. Okay, so the next book is a cookbook called Pinch of Nom, 100 Homestyle Recipes for Health and Weight Loss. This is by 2 British chefs who started a blog, pinchofnom.com. I started following them on Instagram a little while ago, and when I found out that they had a cookbook coming out, I was excited that there was a US edition. A lot of times, if you are following different bloggers, food bloggers, or chefs on Instagram or on their blogs, and they're in another country, like England or Ireland, their recipes are not in our measurements. But when they put out a US edition of the cookbooks, they will do them in cups and teaspoons and tablespoons. Usually if you're looking on the internet for these recipes, they'd be in like grams and milliliters, and that's hard to convert. So I was glad when they put out a US edition. So lots of great recipes in this that I would definitely consider family friendly. So, you know, if you're getting this book because you are looking for health and weight loss recipes, that's great, but then a lot of times those recipes don't translate into something that you could also feed your family, but I feel like in this book it does. My kids would definitely eat lemon and blueberry baked oats. I did find it funny that one of the healthy recipes is considered healthy was the full English wrap. If you do not want to know what a full English breakfast is, it's like beans and eggs and sausages and bacon, and they're putting it all in one wrap. So don't know how healthy that is, but it's delicious, I'm sure. Some other recipes that I thought were really interesting. This is one my kids would definitely eat, that cheeseburger pizza. And then some basics, quick meals. Some basics like, oh, this looked interesting too that I definitely thought my kids would eat, stuffed meatballs. Some basics like chicken dippers, where sauce mixed with sriracha, which I thought was like super delicious. Mayo and sriracha. My kids might not like that, but I would love it. Pesto pasta, how to make fresh pesto. Just simple recipes, except for this one. Rumble de Thumps. Must be a British thing. But they do also a lot of like potato and vegetable bakes in this book, which is interesting. I also feel like that's fairly family friendly. And you might have seen these on Pinterest, the cheesecake stuffed strawberries. That's from pinchofnom.com. They apparently were the first to dream up these cheesecake stuffed strawberries, so I was happy to have the original recipe for those. So I would recommend Pinch of Nom. This came in May, and since we were closed, this is the first time I'm taking a look at it, and I definitely am going to make several recipes from this book. And another one that drew my attention when we first came into the library after being gone for so many weeks was this one from National Geographic, Attainable, Sustainable, The Lost Art of Self-Reliant Living. Now, it is packed full of ways that you can basically live in a less materialistic and consumer-driven way. Lots of information on gardening, lots of information on making your own things like soaps and candles, mending your own clothes, making bread, just different things that you can do to kind of live a greener life, a life that is less about things that are disposable and using what you have. And I feel like when this whole pandemic first started, we all kind of were rushing out to buy things that we felt like we needed, and then maybe if we had some of these on hand, or we knew how to make them, we wouldn't have been so panicked. Although of course there are things that we absolutely need to buy at the grocery store, of course. But I just thought it was an interesting way of looking at how we can live our lives in a different way. I mean, there's crafts in here too, so fun projects. But then there's also different things like making a hair mask out of avocado, natural hair care, cleaning supplies, planting a garden. I know that so many people with so much time on our hands over the last several weeks have started to plant gardens. Maybe for the first time you've done it. Greenhouse growing, which I feel like we could, some people might want to take to the next level. Their gardening, beekeeping, and how important that is to our environment. It's just such an interesting book. I know some people in the area do raise chickens, and there's a lot of information here about getting started raising chickens. So it was a really interesting, it's a really interesting book about living, about getting back to basics. I know. Finally, I do have one fiction title that I read recently and I would like to recommend. It's called If I Never Met You by Vari McFarlane. I don't have any idea if I'm saying her name properly, but she has written a couple of books. These are like cute, light, rom-com type of books. And this one I read it in like a day and a half because it kept my attention. It was fast, it was cute, it was funny, it touched your heart a little bit. It's about a lawyer who is 36 years old. She has her life together. She's really great at her job. She thinks she's really great at her long-term relationship with her boyfriend of 18 years. When he comes home one day and tells her that he is leaving her, of course she falls apart. She doesn't know what to do. She gets back up, goes to work, and gets stuck in an elevator with one of her colleagues, a man who's never given her the time of day, but they get stuck in the elevator and they start talking, and he wants to be up for promotion to partner, but he thinks that he needs a girlfriend to impress their boss, so they decide to embark on a fake relationship that turns into something real. This was, like I said, it was a romantic comedy type of book, fun and breezy, and I did enjoy it.